Before we jump into today's episode, we are on Patreon. That's patreon.com/some laugh. You can get lots of extra bonus content there, including dogs, including an extra episode every 2 weeks. You get,
Sophie, we're doing promo, girl.
You also get, what'd you get? Hundreds of stuff.
You don't get a dog, I just need to clarify.
Yeah.
One episode will have a dog in, but she'll have calmed down by then. We're doing this first.
Yeah. If you like the sound of that in your ears, there's plenty more on the Patreon. No, for as little as £3 a month, as Stevie says, we do have access. We'll probably just start this again.
I think it's a good laugh.
Fair enough. Anyway, yeah, sign up, get an extra episode every 2 weeks plus bonus content. We're planning on soon having some extra bonus content from public episodes. You can also get access to all the live shows that we've done previously. There's about half a dozen of those. And you can also get first dibs on upcoming tickets for future shows.
Of course.
But at time of recording, Stu, you have got a tour on sale for next year.
Yes, for spring, going to a few select places. I'd love to see some listeners out there.
Yeah. I've got some tour dates coming up very shortly. Do check out my mailing list for that if you'd like to be the first to know, and keep
Got a mailing list?
tabs on that. I do. I've always had
I've got a mailing list, but I've never used it.
I've used it twice, and I'm going to have a third one coming out very shortly. Coming to some.
Do you post little stories on it and stuff, or do you just say I'm coming here?
Well, you need to sign up to the
To
mailing
find
list to
out.
find out. But yeah, guys. Apart from that, hopefully see you over on the Patreon and enjoy today's episode.
Enjoy the episode.
Welcome to the Some Laugh podcast.
It could be like, oh, that was some laugh, or there was just some laughs.
Some laughs.
Well, no promising all laugh.
No, there's going to be some.
It's some laugh.
We have the comedian's comedian on the podcast. Mr. Paul McDaniel.
Oh yeah,
Comedian that all comics love to watch
Yes, and hate to follow.
and hate to follow.
Well, I don't know. I mean, is that true?
I would say
Well,
so.
we were gigging last week, Paul, and
yeah.
what was at first glance, and
disaster.
certainly the first couple of minutes of the show seemed like it was going to be quite an unplayable gig, but it ended up all right. And Paul
It's good.
fucking smashed it though. You absolutely ripped it.
Where was the gig?
It was in what was the name of the bowling club?
Oh, Cathcart Bowling
Calf
Club?
Cart Bowling Club. We were
Yeah,
doing.
for
Was I
Raymond Murray.
smashing
That's
it?
it, you know,
Your
careers going places.
If you can smash the Cathcart Bowling Club, Paul, you can smash it anywhere.
I think it was my first gig back after the Fringe.
Oh, aye.
And you know when you're a bit nervous because you haven't gigged for a few weeks.
Steve was just saying that because he's
Yeah.
just back for his.
I've not gigged in a month.
Are you nervous about? Would you think you'll be nervous? about
Probably
doing
when
your
I get there. I'm all right just now, but when I get
Yeah,
just beforehand.
because you get all these thoughts before your first gig back after the Fringe when you not gigged for a while, and you sort of think, I don't know how to do comedy. I don't know what's funny. I don't know. Like,
By the way, Paul, I don't know how long you've not done comedy since. Recently, we're going to put that mic close to your face.
Oh, right. I just asked you how much fucking. I just asked. I
That's
don't know.
fine,
Is
that's
that all right?
perfect,
Yeah,
that's
you
perfect.
You can put it up.
Cool, no worries. Yeah.
It's better.
I do-
Nick wouldn't be happy with you saying that.
I haven't done a podcast for a long time, so.
Nah, we can fucking tell. No, but it is. It's,
Fuck's
you lose your match fitness, don't you?
Yeah, you start to like doubt yourself, and you think I can't do this, and that I can't entertain these people. I don't know what these people want. What do they want?
Because like, with that was like because I hadn't done a gig like that in a while, like in a
Yeah.
bowling club, and it's like I mean there was like one guy there was a listener in actually, and there was another kind of young couple.
Yeah,
But apart from that,
it's
like
quite
I
elderly.
felt like you're talking your youngest person there by about 20 years at least.
Yeah.
I'm going, what am I going to say to these folk? Like they're not on Tinder or whatever, but it was fine. Like actually, I felt for me it went better than I was expecting it to go. And then, but apparently they were saying that half the audience couldn't hear me because the mic was fucked. So Raymond went and switched up the mic and got
changed
better.
the mic.
Because he went on and he was having it hard for the first few minutes, and when Raymond's having a hard time, you're like, oh, fuck.
Aye.
This is,
tough.
you know what I mean? But by the
Yeah.
by the second section, he was smashing it, obviously. But
yeah.
it was
What was the layout like? Because sometimes
I feel nothing. There was
all
no, there was
over
like,
this.
I've done a bowling club gig and you know how the seat around the outside, they were just all sitting around like that, and it wasn't rows of people. It was
Yeah.
one square.
It was
row.
just like it was quite a just rectangular room. There wasn't like a big spare bit of like dance floor or whatever, but it was just like there was no really any stage as such, was
Yeah.
there? It was just In fact, there was a wee bit of gap actually, wasn't there?
There was a wee bit. I don't think I stood on the stage.
I did because I was.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
Because Raymond was just going in that sort of zone, like going in amongst them. So if I was still in there, and then after about 2 minutes, I was dying. I'm like, fuck this. I got up on the wee stage bit, and that genuinely did help.
It helped.
I felt.
They were like, oh, he's the performer. Oh, he's on stage.
Oh, this is a performer. This isn't just the guy that's wandered in
The
here.
Johnny.
I always love those ones though, because it's like the backstage is always just it's like
All
pure
the
changing
trophies.
rooms or like a trophy or like there was just like a fucking kitchen cabinet and all that next to us. But
You have like, you always have like the women's and men's like championship list of all the names.
Aye.
Oh
And
yeah.
it goes
that was
back,
the first
like,
thing I said after I done my first joke, never got a laugh, and I was like, there was like men's honours list. I'm like, well, I'm not making that.
Who was this gig for?
Raymond
Raymond?
Burns.
Oh, was it?
Raymond, and yeah, it was really good.
It was
to
good
see
though.
him.
It was good.
Yeah, we left before I had to do like Blackfriars.
Paul was doubling up and I was
Oh,
going,
nice.
yeah,
The
bit of a
classic
clack.
Cathcart Blackfriars double.
Double up. We've all done there. We've all done that. We've all been there. But no, it was a nice gig.
But the thing about you, Paul, is because like I remember years ago when me and Steve done the infamous donut show where we
Oh,
were in the
yeah.
audience donuts, and
That
you
was
done
good.
it, and that was the first time my sister seen you, and like,
Oh, yeah.
and what I love watching when you're on stage is watching audience members.
Audience's reactions, yeah.
Because I've heard of this shit before, isn't it? but I also love watching
Yeah.
your stuff every time. But I also love watching audience members like pure, like discover you,
Yeah.
and you just see them
Yeah.
like pure like bowled over. Like 'cause my
Yeah.
sister pure. Like that first time she's seen you, this is like we're talking. This is like 10 years ago.
2014.
Something like
Yeah,
that.
something like
2014. That was
Ever,
right.
she's been a Paul McDaniel
Fan.
stan ever since.
Yeah. I do like. I think like sometimes new audiences who see me, they're like the first minute or so, they're like, "Oh, what the fuck's going on?" And then once you get that first laugh, they go, I get it. I see what he's doing. He's kind of like he's not an awkward man. He's in a character as an awkward man. It's like,
He's pretending to be bad
Yeah,
comedy.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's like, but like sometimes the first joke or two, they're like, oh dear, like, oh, he should not be up there, kind of thing. But yeah, I do have like a few, like your sister, like a few people that come to see me.
You get the
over and
normies.
over.
The normies love Paul McDaniel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So it's
Everybody
nice,
does.
but it'd be nice to have a few more of them. But
Well, after this, Paul.
Hence why you're here.
Do you know the funny thing is though? Because I remember, like, again, early on when we were starting out, the first time I ever went to do a gig in Edinburgh, it was about May or something, right? And they used to do this gig at the City Cafe that this promoter ran. And I remember turning up and she got everybody to go out and flyer in the street in May, which is not a thing that happens outside of the Fringe.
Yeah.
And so we were like, what? And it was like an unpaid gig. I think the tickets were like
Zero.
a 15 quid or something. No, they were
Yeah.
like, but it was like a Wednesday. Nobody's coming, obviously, right? It's all these open spots. And so I'm like flying on the mile. And she came up and said to somebody like, oh, if you can't fly, you'll never be a comedian and all this kind of stuff. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, maybe you need to do a bit of flying in August during the Fringe, but it's not a thing just in random gigs.
Yeah.
But while I'm doing that, pure hating myself, and the gig ended up getting cancelled, never even went ahead. I bumped into you. You were walking down the Royal Mile, and you were going to the Beehive.
Yeah, and you were like,
which to me sounded like fucking Live at the Apollo at the time. I'm like, oh my god, how did I get on at the Beehive?
we probably got cancelled as well.
For the wrong reasons.
Yeah, but like the thing was that that was a strange gig because you thought, I remember like when we were starting out doing comedy, the City Cafe gig, we thought, oh, that's probably what we have to do. We have to
Aye.
like turn up, and we had to like, I think the promoter as well sent us a thing that we had to sign saying that I will do, you know,
Crazy.
I will promote the gig and I will
know.
turn up 2 hours before the gig and help, you know, get the seats out or whatever. It
I
was
know.
like, you know.
But
That's
at
a
that
red
point
flag.
when you're
Yeah.
like, you're just new and enthusiastic, you're like, whatever it takes, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And then you
yeah,
realise
yeah.
that is not what it takes.
No,
Like,
No.
exactly. That should be on them. I remember like so you've got this quite distinctive style just now, but you went through a phase where you'd done like a deadpan thing for a while.
A wee bit, yeah. Well, some people think I'm still quite deadpan and stuff.
Well, yeah,
like
but
that,
you're still a bit more like you're a bit more animated and like like Captain Hot shit and like
all that shit.
a wee nod and a wink. But
Yeah.
like you went through a phase where it was just very static. And,
Yeah, I went through a lot of different phases, and to be honest, it took me like a long time to work out what I was supposed to be doing, and probably longer than like you guys. It took me a long time to actually work out how to do jokes, and also to I didn't know what the audience was laughing at for a lot of the time. As far as we know, I'm not, autistic or anything. Well, a lot of people think I am and say, "Oh, you definitely are." And like so, but I was like, I don't know what they're laughing at. I have no. And
What do you mean?
like they would laugh, and when I said something, and I'd be like, "Oh, what did I do? What was it? Let me know so I can repeat it." And it's like I would say a certain word, and they would just laugh, and then, but like I know now, I know now, like because I've watched myself and stuff like that. I know.
So what would
This guy's hilarious.
Yes, I'm fucking right. They're laughing.
what did you pick up on then? What were the things?
don't
Was
know.
it certain words or was it
I just kind of worked out how jokes work.
maybe like the overconfidence?
Yeah. It was like people when I would sort of put myself down and act like I was a real dude and cool, and then that would get laughs, and it was like the persona of someone who's like obviously quite self-deprecating and stuff like that. I know it's like not the greatest reference, but there's a bit of a Woody Allen bit about
Right,
that.
okay.
People would pick up on that in Woody Allen, and some people would say Ardlo Hanlon a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And some people still do say that.
Yeah. Andrew
And-
Dice Clay.
Yeah, that's but yeah, because do you not find it like sometimes you don't know how people see you? That was what I struggled with. That I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know what you people are seeing, and even if you watch a video clip, you still don't know because you're like, oh, it's me, kind of thing.
you all you know is what you think and all that, and then but other people might perceive you as something
Yeah.
completely different. I get that.
That's the hard thing about stand-up, particularly when you start as well, though, is because like, often you don't really know who you are,
Yeah.
and you don't know how other people perceive you. And the thing is, because you can write a joke and you might think this is a funny joke, but there's certain things that people will take from you and the stuff that you just can't get away with.
Yeah,
that maybe in
yeah.
their hands of someone else would
Yeah,
work.
definitely.
And that's part of the learning process when you're starting stand-up, is you're going, oh, regardless of whether I think this is a clever wee line or this or that, people just aren't buying it for me.
Yeah,
And
like-
that's part of the thing, and it's there's no two ways around it. You've just got to learn by trying and failing, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, like when I started out, there was a touch of the like edgelord stuff. I think everyone, like when they started out, that you try to do the stuff that's going to get a reaction.
Were you trying edgy stuff?
Yeah,
So were you?
yeah, and it
Yeah,
was
that was back, nowadays you can't
far.
say anything anymore, can you?
It's like the whole bar and stuff like that. I
Yeah, we
remember
used to
gigs like
start in the whole
that.
bar.
But like I look back, and there was like some dodgy stuff that I said, like that.
Would
different time.
Would you care to
different-
repeat anything?
Absolutely not. It was about
It's funny
like.
because I've still got a recording of one of our gigs, Paul. Actually,
Well, like whenever you watch old clips of like even Graham Norton, who's like doing stuff about on his like chat show, he's talking about Amy Winehouse and doing jokes about her.
Yeah, yeah,
And you're
yeah.
like, oh wow, that has not aged well at all. And
Yeah.
you look back and stuff like that, and there was so many comedians doing Madeline McCann.
Yeah, that was like we were speaking about that when we were here. It's like because when we started, like the main person that people were trying to copy was Frankie,
yeah.
and it was like,
But they didn't get the nuances of
No.
Frankie at all. They just thought it was
Joke
like a
writing.
shock.
Yeah.
and as I say now, it's like it transforms, doesn't it, through time, and then it becomes Stuart Lee, and then it becomes James Acaster, and it becomes Sam Campbell now or
It's
whatever.
Sam
And
Campbell,
like,
yeah.
One day it's going to be Paul McDaniel.
Paul
that
McDaniel, yeah.
everyone's jacking
God,
your
he's,
style.
God, he's
We'll see.
McDaniels. And he's just doing McDaniel.
Just doing my edgy stuff. A little bit.
I know.
But no, it's like I went through different phases of like I remember I did poetry and stuff like that one time, and that was
I kind of
fucking
used to
awful.
remember that night that was called the Variety Society. It was on a
Yes,
Sunday,
yes.
and you could do. I done a poem once.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what the
What
fuck
was
I was
it
thinking.
What was that about?
I wrote a couple. I wrote one that was about corporations or something.
Yeah.
And then I wrote one, I can't remember, some other thing. But then I remember somebody saying to me, that was like a parody of poetry. I'm like, I was trying my best.
I read out like a poem one time, and it was meant to be a parody of a poem. And I was in a gig in Paisley, and there was one guy laughing, and his girlfriend said to him, "Stop laughing," like, as if like I was reading a real poem. She's like, "Stop laughing at this poem. This guy's trying really hard." It's like, no, you're meant to laugh. Like, but
What do you think? Because what do you think the worst gig you've done is, Paul? Or
oh,
the worst death you've had?
I don't know. I mean, I remember like what springs to mind is like just after lockdown when we came back, and it was my first gig back, and it was at a venue, the Monkey Barrel, and it was like 3 gigs all in a row.
Yeah.
Like you did the 5
5,
p.m.
7, and 9.
Yeah, and it was like we were all socially distanced, and I didn't really know what I was doing at that point because I hadn't really gigged much. And I think I had like 3 deaths in a row, and it's bad when you have 3 deaths in a row, kind of thing. But I think that's probably wasn't the worst. I mean, there must be like really awful gigs that
Some sort of like bowling club or
yeah. I think it's really bad whenever you try to like win them over by saying how bad the gig's going, and even that doesn't work. Like,
Aye, that's when you know you're fucked. Isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah. You're like, I'm on your side, guys. This is bad, isn't it? And they're like, no, fuck you. Like,
Because that is the kind of like, that is breaking the safety glass. If you do a joke or whatever, a couple of jokes, and they don't go well, and then you kind of go, like, you acknowledge that it's not going well, and then when that gets done,
yeah,
where do you go for there?
yeah.
that's
And then you get like someone heckling you, and that gets a bigger laugh than anything you've said. And you're like, wow, you really do hate me, guys. You really are not. Well, have I done something wrong or something?
Well, you've got a really funny bit about going and doing gong shows and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Did
Yeah.
you? How often, if ever, did you do like the gong show? Because there used to be one in the Comedy Store in Manchester.
Yeah.
Did you ever go and do that?
It was the Frog and Bucket I did.
Oh, was it?
Beat the Frog, and I did it, and I make out that I got gonged after one word after I said hello, and so they're not into it, and they weren't
back
wasn't-
in the bus.
yeah, back in the bus, but the truth.
Give you time to work on it.
And then I went back the next week, and I didn't open with hello because I wanted to try some new stuff, new material, and so yeah, like I did actually do it just once, and I won it, so it's all
Oh,
lies.
Oh,
And then I went back. They booked me. The prize is you get to go back and do
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
an 8-minute set. I think.
unpaid Thursday or some shit.
Yeah, something
Aye.
like that. I do a bit as well where I talk about the Fringe, how I did the show to no one once one year at the first day of the show, and that is actually true because I had the room all set up in Three Sisters. I think it's like the cloakroom. It's called.
It used to be called the staff
The
room,
staff
but
That's it,
room,
but
it's like
the-
40,
karaoke
was it
room.
20
it's
seats
like a
or something?
karaoke room.
Yeah.
I seen your show in there
Did
once,
you?
and it was brilliant.
Oh wow! Oh,
Yeah.
thanks,
Was that
man. Yeah.
you, Sandy, and
No,
Alan?
this was, I seen
This
you
was
do a
just
solo
me.
show. I did
Yeah.
see you and Sandy in that.
Yeah.
Because that was the.
Sandy and Ali Houston.
Do you remember? That was one of the. That was one of the
one of our favourite memories.
memories of. Do you remember what happened?
No.
Because there was one day, I think me and you were we out with pals or something, and we went to see this show, and there was some wee guy that was like a wee E4 guy, and he was in the bigger room.
He was in the
Three
gothic room
Sisters.
downstairs.
Yes.
And basically,
remember
there was
this.
a mum and 2 wee kids, and they got the wee kid, and they looked like wee Disney kid, the wee blonde.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
he got them up on
Yeah.
stage, and it was like
Maybe
everyone's-
8-year-olds,
Yeah,
something
give them
like
a
that.
Yeah.
less, probably like younger than that.
Yeah.
They all got a wee round of applause, and it was dead nice, right? So they obviously thought, oh, these shows are great, so we'll go to another one. So they go to you, Sandy and Ali's show. It was called Laughter Birth.
Afterbirth, it was called.
Oh, was it? Was it
Afterbirth would have been
Would
better.
have been better. But and it was in that tiny wee room, and there was like.
They
I
sat in
remember
the
it was like
front
this,
row.
yeah, there was like 3 rows.
Yeah.
We're sitting right behind them, and then
forgotten about that.
Sandy was on stage. And sorry, Sandy, don't like
He's talking
to-
about water sports.
Well, he had some.
Yeah.
The line I always remember. 'Cause he goes like he was a basic because he was a one-liner guy, and he used to do quite kind
Yeah.
of dark stuff back in the day. Again, we were all very new at this point, and he sort of goes like to the woman, maybe for this bit, just cover their ears.
Yeah, yeah.
And they didn't do it. And then he
Oh.
got the line he said was eating out the back passage of an airline pilot.
Oh wow, wow.
The woman stood
Stood
up
up.
and goes, "You're sick."
Yeah, yeah. That was
I
yeah.
walked
I
out
remember
with the
that.
kids.
Well, do you want to know something funny? I'm pretty sure I was in the show before that yous were in,
Aye.
and where they got up on stage,
Oh, yeah.
and the mother said about the son that was in the show. He was in Emmerdale, I think.
Oh, right.
said
His son, he was
yeah.
like a wee kid actor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
She said. So he's a little blonde kid that was in
That was
Emmerdale.
it.
So we could find out who that is.
He's probably doing stand up now. It's fucking
Ah,
Yeah,
time
yeah, he's
is
probably
it?
a nepo baby. Yeah,
Probably be like 18 now or something.
yeah.
He's
He
been,
might be.
he's been traumatized by that bit.
It'll all be about
That was
back
so funny.
passages, you know, stuff. But no, like Sandy was, yeah, that was. I remember Sandy and me and Ali said to the woman as she came in, we said, "There's going to be some stuff that's not really suitable for children. And she would, oh, he's heard it all before.
They always say that.
Yeah, they always say that.
They've heard you saying you're going to eat out of the back passage.
Yeah,
of an
yeah.
airline
He's heard.
pile.
Oh, he's
I've heard that.
Yeah,
loads.
I know.
Twice
Cut to
today.
20 minutes later, you're sick. I fucking told you.
The one gig I did at the Fringe where it was me and Pat Mulholland, and there was one guy talking while I was on and talking to going like saying something. I was like, "What's going on?" I said to him, "Are you okay?" And he went, "No." And I was like, "What's wrong?" He's just this is fucking awful, man. And I said, "You can go if you want." And he goes, "Yeah, I will." And he went, "No harm to you for getting up. Fair play for getting up there, but it's fucking awful." And he just like, and I was like, I couldn't continue with the show. I was like, I think that's the end of the show, guys.
Oh, really?
I was like,
fuck.
yeah.
And how long was supposed to be left?
I was like, I'd done like 20 minutes and I had like 10 more to do. I should have
Right.
done. But
That's enough.
it was
Yeah.
actually going well for the rest of the audience. They were enjoying
Yeah.
it. And you could
Oh,
see
well.
people were quite like, oh, like kind of,
Yeah.
quite sad.
But you
know?
shouldn't let one cunt who's not enjoying it
Yeah.
get the last.
That's such a like brutally honest heckle, though, isn't it? Just
Yeah,
going,
yeah.
This
This is just so bad. Yeah, this is so bad. Yeah. I mean, that's the kind of thing that has kind of stopped me from asking audience members, "Are you okay now?" In case they say
in
that.
Case
Because the last time I asked someone, "Are you okay?" He went,
Just
"No."
assume that they're
yeah.
hating it.
Yeah. I know. I just kind of try to soldier through and just ignore them. But
So tell us what happened when you done the gig to 0 people. How did that happen?
I felt really good about it afterwards. I was like, show's really working because I just tried it out and I actually wrote new
So
bits.
is that true then?
Yeah. I tried
So it
out.
was
I
like
just
a rehearsal, basically.
Yeah,
you done?
I just
empty
tried
room?
out the PA and the mic and all, and I was like, this show's actually quite good because I would recommend it for like just having like even in the room we're in now, like a little mic
Yeah.
and a speaker system, and just try out your set to see what like the stand there as if you're standing doing stand up.
How,
think it's-
how much of a psychopath would you look like
I
if
know.
someone came in like
Walked
5
in.
minutes late and
Yeah,
you're doing
yeah,
your
yeah.
material to
I
no
know.
one?
Yeah, if you were like acting
Say
as
to no one, are you okay?
acting like
What do you do as a job?
Just your intrusive thoughts, them telling you, oh, this is terrible.
I will fuck you then.
oh,
We warned you before you came in. It's not suitable for kids.
yeah, it's not for everyone. This, yeah. Oh well, yeah. No, it's So I did that, and then I actually told my friend Dave Callahan afterwards. I said, "Yeah, I did the show to no one, and I was I was really pleased with it. It went really well." And he laughed. And I thought, "Oh, there's something here. I'll mention this in my stand up." And then I'll do a whole bit. There was actually one guy who came to see the show during the Fringe that year in 2015, I think, and he came and charged his phone. He was laughing and he took out his phone halfway through and was like and like he plugged his phone in and I said, "Are you charging your phone?" He went, "Yeah, I'm enjoying the show, but I just thought,
Was he your only audience member?
No, there was a few other people there, but he was enjoying it. So a lot of it, I think, like with stand up, I'm sure you're the same. It's kind of you take stuff that's happened and you change
embellish
it,
it,
and
course,
you
aye.
sort of change it to make
That's
it more
those
funny.
are two of my
but-
favourite routines, that gong show
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
thing about the Fringe.
You've got other like some of my
Mm-hmm.
favourite routines as well about growing up in Northern Ireland.
Yes, yeah.
And I don't even want to spoil the punchline, but
Oh,
it's about
Eating out the back passage.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
it was about
Cool,
the
great.
discotheque getting blown to smithereens.
Yeah.
And stuff. How was it growing up in Northern Ireland?
Well, I was in the 80s. It was pretty bad, but I was kind of shielded from a lot from it, and it wasn't really something my parents really talked about. It's
Right.
kind of in the background. I just remember a lot of like bomb scares. And kind of, I remember one of the big bombs. It was like one of the big,
One of the
big
big-
hits. Was in 1987. It was Remembrance Sunday, and they bombed like a Remembrance Sunday parade, and it was in my hometown. I remember hearing the bomb. I was at Sunday school and I heard this big bang, and it just like made everyone like, oh fucking hell, what's And we didn't really understand what was going on, but my dad didn't pick us up. It was like his friend, and that was like a memory. And I think the weirdest thing about that was my sister was meant to go to see the Care Bears live at the Ardouin Theatre in Enniskillen, but it got cancelled. And we were like, my sister was more upset about that, and like
What was the Care Bears? Was it like?
do you know the Care Bears? No,
Is it like a
of
like
course,
singing kettle?
No,
kind of
no,
thing?
you must have care. Do you not remember
they
the
have
Care
like
Bears?
they have hearts
Aye.
on their.
Oh,
the Care Bears.
Don't they have like rainbows and
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah, yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
right, yeah. Well, that was a live show.
Yeah, I was thinking, how are they going to do that live?
Yeah.
They're going to dress up. I suppose they could dress up. It's animated, but
Because of the Bears, it's in a Protestant area.
yeah, they just didn't have the orange one on. But like, yeah. So there was other stuff. There was lots of like bomb scares where the town would be sealed off and stuff like that.
Right.
But
And because you were
Yeah.
young at that time, did it just sort of seem like you just
Yeah.
kind of you didn't know any different?
yeah, you didn't really know what was going on. My dad was a journalist and he was kind of writing about it and stuff. And he, I think he interviewed Ian Paisley, and Ian Paisley came to our house
Did he?
when I was asleep. And
hell.
I was 28
Thing
years
never
old.
fucking- someone can fucking tell it.
I was asleep. She was like, my mum was worried he was going to wake us up. I think he came for
It's
an
quite
interview.
loud, to be fair.
Yeah, my mum hoovered like for Ian Paisley. Like she hoovered before he came. Like she was
Wow.
like thinking, oh, I don't want him to get angry or whatever. But I'm pretty sure, yeah. So it was sort of happening in the background, but you didn't really know the details and what was going on and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and the news. And you're not really going to watch the news when you're a kid. But my dad is like, obviously for him, you know, I think he's known people who've been killed, and I've friends who've like relatives been killed and stuff like that. So,
And does he ever talk about it now, looking back, and what it was
Yeah.
like as a journalist for him and stuff?
yeah, he does talk about it, and like he had death threats, and
really?
I've never had any death threats as
No.
a comedian.
For your
but-
comedy.
Yeah,
Just wait till this comes out.
the kid from Emmerdale will mess with you. But yeah, so
So was he commenting on? Was he writing about the
Yeah.
troubles and stuff?
Yeah, so like he's seen a lot. Like he's seen, you know, it's a bit crazy. I mean, it must have been a scary time. It's really weird. Like when you go back to Northern Ireland now, you think that all these little sleepy towns that you drive through where you feel like it's so quiet and nothing's really happening. You think this was like the center of a war zone. Like this was in the news, and it was like everyday coverage, and like people were like being killed, and you just think there's so much happening. And now in Northern Ireland, it just seems so quiet and like.
Yeah.
I suppose that is what happens. So,
know.
Yeah.
it's kind of sad, isn't it?
Is it like this will probably sound
Something
stupid, but like
Yeah.
you know how Dairy Girls, it's a big part of that, and it's
Yeah.
trivialized to an extent. Was it just sort of like you're getting on with your life, and
Yeah,
you're
pretty
doing all
much.
these daft things, and but it's going
Yeah.
on in the background, or is that kind of
It was kind of like that, yeah, definitely. And it's almost like you're weirdly nostalgic for it, even though it was like a horrible
Yeah.
Yeah.
thing. It's like that with everything. You look back and everything seems better in the past, and
Yeah.
you're like, nah, it was fucking shit.
The
It's
pandemic.
horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doing a couple of
People-
weeks off.
Some people
Yeah.
loved the pandemic. Some
I
people
kinda
like,
liked it.
yeah. So like
Yeah.
Roscoe said he thrived during it. He loved
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
and like it did have some good bits about it.
Well, I mean, yeah, having a few weeks off to
Yeah.
It made me not do the Fringe that year, which I was
Aye.
very thankful for. Because my show was not ready.
I do remember being relieved, like, because I was coming
Yeah.
back to Australia when everything started getting cancelled, and I was still thinking I was going to do a show that week. It was like the end of March,
Yeah.
and then when that got cancelled, then I was like, fuck.
I know.
Yeah,
And my
I'll-
show
yeah,
wasn't
I'll
ready
off.
for the Glasgow Festival show was not ready.
But
and-
you know, obviously
yeah,
we're sad for all the people that died. You know,
Yeah,
But
of
I'm sure
course.
there's people in the Troubles had similar. But thank fuck I didn't want to go to that discotheque tonight. Anyways.
I think like the 90s and
The Care Bears are getting fucked. Your mom's probably fucking buzzing.
I know. It's like, well, Dairy Girls is like, I suppose the 90s is a decade now that everyone's looking back on and going, oh, it's quite good, you know. 'cause-
Nostalgic.
Yeah, because there was like a lot of, it's probably, I mean, there was still horrible stuff, but like, it doesn't seem as bad as
Yeah.
now. Like,
Oh, we had Labour and Oasis. Oh wait,
yeah,
we're back.
but both are not as good as all.
Yeah, that's very true.
Maybe
yeah,
they
you know.
are, maybe not.
And actually, in retrospect, they weren't that good. To
Yeah,
begin with, probably.
yeah. Did you try to get Oasis tickets?
Oh, I've
You
got some.
managed
Did you?
to get-
Did you get
I
some?
got a couple.
Oh, wow, cool.
Nice.
I mean, everyone went through that together on the Saturday when you were
Yeah,
sitting
it's
there,
brutal,
like
yeah.
refreshing the page.
Yeah.
Yeah, an Oasis fan.
Yeah, like definitely maybe, and the maybe the first two albums, and I do like some of the other stuff. But
Did you ever see them live?
I saw them in Ireland at like a witness. I think it was called Witness Festival, and
Oh,
it was
aye?
in Dublin, like outside Dublin in a race course, and they were like really disappointed, didn't interact with the audience, and
Really?
like just Yeah, just
Maybe they were worried
going
that
through
somebody was going to say it was terrible.
Are you okay?
Fair play to you for getting up there, boys, but listen, it's just not for me.
This is awful.
Have you seen them live? Or?
No, I know.
No.
That's why I really wanted to go, because I
Yeah.
could have kind of went towards the end,
Aye.
and I never got. So it's always been like a pure. It would have been a bucket list thing, and I never thought
Yeah.
I'd get back together. So I need to go.
Yeah.
When did you move to Scotland then?
I moved in 2006. I was working for BBC Complaints.
Were
and,
you really?
Yeah.
What was that like?
That was funny. Lots of interesting callers. I don't know really how much I can say, but
Fuck it.
maybe it's.
man.
I'm not naming
GDPR
anyone.
wasn't a thing back then.
You what? Sorry.
GDPR wasn't a thing
Yeah,
back then.
that's it. Well, the thing was, a lot of racist callers complaining
Really?
about, oh, there's too many, you know,
Non-white people.
Yeah,
Wow.
presenting the news, you know, all that stuff.
God's sake.
And it was like you get repeat callers, so you get the people calling in every day, so you get to know them, and you think like they would ring up for a fight, and you have to like not get into a fight with them, and you get lots of people complaining about the weather maps. Really stupid. Oh, I
Like,
can't.
what were they complaining about?
They
The
say,
weather?
I can't read the weather. It's too complicated. And like,
What does that cloud with the little
Although
rain?
I
What
would
does that
say
mean?
in the defence of these people that sometimes the not when they put the whole map of the UK,
Yeah.
the bits they select to like have a wee dot next to are
Aye.
totally random. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
pure random. It's not like the main bits.
I know.
Like just what the fuck?
Yeah.
Where's
I know.
this?
But the
Get,
thing
like,
is,
Glasgow and Aberfeldy.
Aye, you know, like, why?
we got like some insane calls. Like there was one guy or a woman rang up and said that during Springwatch, Bill Oddie had wiped his knob on the camera, and I was like, I was thinking, I'm sure we would have got more calls if we'd done that. Like one person calls and complains, the rest are like, let him. He seems happy. Like let him do it.
That's
But like
hilarious.
we get like people, like insane people. Someone rang up saying that David Bowie was stalking them and stuff like that.
Fucking hell. And they
Yeah.
rang up BBC complaints
like,
and not
what
the
are-
place.
What are we gonna do about it? You know, tell them to stop. You know. But,
Was there any like actual complaints that you had to take forward, or was it?
So would you just log them and pass them on to somebody else, or would you need to deal with them as well?
I'd log them and put them on the computer, so the program makers, anyone who made the program, would see the list of the complaints the next day.
And did they say?
And-
Because I remember hearing that thing. It's like one complaint is like 10,000 people would have been outraged by it. Or
Yeah,
whatever. Was that
yeah.
kind of the?
It's kind of like that, but the thing I was working there during the Russell Brand Jonathan Ross thing.
Wow.
Oh,
In retrospect, one of the least bad things Russell Brand's
Yeah,
ever done.
yeah. So
that
like,
was a highlight of his career, actually.
so like I got calls like that, just like for like months after that happened.
For Sachsgate.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
Andrew Sachs. That was like big
But
news
that was
story.
an interesting thing in a way, because it was only when, because most people probably didn't even hear the show.
Yeah.
It was only then when it got reported on, it was in
Yeah.
the papers and in the news.
Daily
Then
Mail.
people, so what would they actually say when they were calling in about that?
They were just saying, I just want to complain about the treatment of Manuel. They always didn't even know his name, Manuel. Absolutely disgusting.
I love
Just
Fawlty
disgusting. Just yeah. They just like they hated. They especially hated Jonathan Ross. Like they
Really?
more than Russell Brand. Even they didn't really know who Russell Brand.
He did kind of instigate it a wee bit
Yeah,
more when you
yeah,
listen to it.
yeah.
Russell. Or
Actually, I'm going to call it. Actually, although I'm pro Jonathan Ross. So
Yeah. Well, the thing
You've been on his
was,
bloody show.
I like Johnny Ross.
it was Jonathan. If you watch it, like, was Jonathan Ross who kind of threw the shit at the fan. They said
And listen, he's owned up to that as well.
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
shit
yeah.
to Big JR,
but like,
Big Wassy.
What was it that happened again? It was like Russell Brand said he would shag someone's daughter.
No, they left a voicemail
up.
on Andrew Sachs's answering machine, and then
because he was meant to be on the show or something.
Yeah, he's meant to be on the show, and then
Oh, right.
and what they say normally if they would do kind of pranks, like you'd maybe pretend and then you'd hang up and then it would just sound on it, but they actually did just leave a voicemail they just kept. And I think Russell Brand had shagged his granddaughter.
Right.
Yeah,
And then
she was like,
he said your granddaughter.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
At one point, Judge Ross
So-
just blurted that out.
I know that's
Fuck's
it.
sake.
That's it. And the thing,
Quite
like,
bang out on it.
Aye, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
As Paul learned when he got these complaints.
oh, I
So
mean,
was that like we used pure wall to wall calls for a while?
pretty much, and
And
they,
was it usually just pure dead and then one person phones? But at
Yeah.
that time, the Sachsgate scandal.
yeah, when it happened,
It's like a full 8-hour shift of that.
yeah, pretty much. Like I was there just before. I started working there in 2005, and just before I worked there, there was the whole Jerry Springer the Opera thing, which had the most at that time. I think had the record number of complaints.
So that was Stuart Lee wrote
Stuart
that,
Lee
didn't he?
was someone,
And
yeah.
it's Jerry Springer the Opera, and then it was
what was
it was
that?
like
Take.
it had all this stuff about like Jerry Springer goes to hell or something
Yeah,
like that.
and Jesus is like a baby in a nappy who keeps shitting himself and stuff like
Oh my
that,
God.
and things like that. And
Because
he's a
did they
grown
show that
man.
in the BBC?
Yeah, it
And
got
then-
like a record number of complaints, and people. I remember chatting to people, and they said like, "Oh, it was just non-stop every day, just like complaints." And so the biggest thing that I had to like take calls about was the Russell Brand thing, the
Sachsgate.
Russell Brand Sachsgate.
Right.
So it was just like, and I think at the time that it went out, they only had like maybe about 6 complaints about it.
Yeah.
And then it was reported in the newspapers, and then it like built up over a thing and stuff like that. And it just like, yeah. So that was like, but like you get like the calls were just quite brutal. So you had to kind of say, thank you very much. I'll log your call for you, and it'll be passed on to the producers and the program makers, and they'll read it. And
would they take it out on you a lot? Would they be like,
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
dare you do this? How can
Yeah,
you put
how
this
can
out?
you do
My
this?
license fee and all this
Yeah,
shit?
that was it. I pay my license fee. I want a refund of my license fee. They wanted a refund because, yeah,
Because Russell Brand shagged Andrew Sachs' daughter.
they wanted a refund if the like newsreader wore a red tie because it meant he was like Labour,
Oh,
pro
really?
Labour.
He's a communist.
There was one time, that someone rang up and said, "Good night, see you tomorrow." Someone had said, "See you tomorrow," like a newsreader or something, or a presenter, and this guy rang up and said, "He won't see us tomorrow. He's like, look, he can't see us." It's like you rang up to tell me this, like,
Oh my God.
Yeah.
People just have too much time in their hands.
yeah,
I
definitely.
used to do the. I
You'll
used
see
to,
me tomorrow.
I used to screen the calls for a BBC radio Janice Forsyth show.
Yeah.
So it's like before letting them on
Oh, I
the
thought you were
radio.
going to be vague about it, and you just
Yeah,
said the
Janice
actual
Forsyth.
show.
Well, there was a few different ones where it's like Janice Forsyth and Kay Adams and a couple other ones.
Oh yeah.
And I think maybe Fred McCauley as well. And it was
Mm-hmm.
like, so they came through to me, and I had to see if they were a psychopath
Right.
before patching them through to get on air. But it was a lot of that, just
Similar.
like a red X next to their name when
Yeah.
they've called like so many times, and they're just
Yeah.
absolute psychos, and you're like, I can't let
Wow.
this person
See,
on.
when that was happening, would people ever like call up saying to you that they were going to talk about one thing and then go on air and talk about something totally different? Because that's what I would do.
Not that I know of,
Yeah,
but there was
yeah,
there was
that
one
happens.
time where they were like, "Did you patch that person through?" Because I'm not listening to the radio. Well, in fact, I think sometimes I was, but they were like, "Oh, that person just swore or something," and they were like, "Did they have anything next to their name?" And I checked, and they didn't. So they're like, "We'll put an X next to their name."
Did you ever see that clip? It was around the time the stuff about David Cameron with the pig, and there was no coverage of it hardly on the news.
Yeah,
and someone rang up the right stuff, and they were talking about something. Have you seen
People
that?
always do that.
Someone
There's
rang
Jeremy
up-
Vine there as well.
Yeah, that's
People
right,
phone
yeah.
up Jerry. There's a mad Scottish guy who phones up and kids only thinks it's a chippy. He's like,
love
"Can
to
I
see
get a
that."
sausage supper and 2 pickles?"
I'd love to see that. Oh wow, yeah, because someone rang in up and said, "We've got this news story about David Cameron sticking his cock in a pig," and it was great. Like, because Matthew Wright just loses it and goes, "Right, that is way beyond what's acceptable this time of day." And he just like, it's so funny. It went viral. The clip was so funny.
That's great, man.
Yeah,
That must have been mad though, the BBC complaints. I see you're right. You were right in the midst of Sachsgate.
yeah. There was like,
And
it
did
did-
that change a lot of stuff, like how they done stuff going for? Because I heard that did really
Yeah.
change the sort of
I think so.
how they like the other protocols and stuff following on for
I
that.
think so. Yeah, there was like, what is it called? There's an
Compliance or
organization or something like that.
Ofcom?
Yeah, BBC. Yeah, there's Ofcom as well, but I think the BBC has something. I can't remember what it's called, but like, I think it changed it. It gave like a lot of right wing press who hate the BBC anyway.
Yeah.
But like, I think now the BBC is full of right wing people.
Well, the guys,
voices and-
the guys that are like the chairman or whatever the fuck it is,
Yeah.
the head guys are all like these like ex-Tories and stuff. aren't
Yeah,
they?
it's like a revolving door of like
Yeah.
that, especially the news, the news, current affairs, and like I think you always see, anytime you see a news host or presenter that like Laura Kuenssberg or whatever, she's like kind of, she is definitely Tory, like right wing. I assume that I get that impression.
Did you see that thing that she was going to interview Boris about his book?
Yeah.
And she sent him all the briefing notes?
She emailed. I mean, it's not like she asks difficult questions anyway. It's like, were you a lonely child or something like that? She always. Have you seen that interview where she's like in a bar chatting to him?
That was like, it was like,
it's like
the mad fucking. There was some program she done.
Yeah,
and it was meant to look as though they're having a pure late night drink and all that.
It looked like I was watching like First Dates or something like that.
I was like, First Dates After Dark. Now.
Yeah.
Seeing them shagging.
And she was said to the camera like, "Oh, Boris is he's one of those people who wants to be loved. He just wants to be loved under his." It's like, are you a fucking journalist? Like, what's going on? It's really odd.
I seen her in Houston once. She walked by me.
Oh, really?
And she kind of like nodded. I'm like,
She gave you a
She
wee
nodded.
nod.
But I think
Nod.
it's like,
Try to fire her.
I could change her.
Never shag her, sorry.
I know, I have said
That's what
that.
you say, but yeah. I did have an ex who was a Scientologist.
Did you?
Yeah, I didn't really know what Scientology was, but it was in university, and she had like all these charts and stuff.
You're
and
from
maps.
Northern Ireland. Are you a Catholic Scientologist? Yeah, old classic. So you were at uni and you were dating a Scientologist?
Yeah, she was South African, and she was a Scientologist. So
Was she trying to convert you?
no, she didn't. She kept it quite. You know, maybe there's like a cliche that Scientologists are always trying to convert people, but
I think if you go in, but I
Yeah.
think if you know somebody who's in it, it's maybe like
it's their own thing. But
it's more like a kind of wee secret almost maybe.
Was she out about it, or was she kind of keeping
she was
it?
pretty open about it. Yeah, her dad was into it and stuff like that, so she was into it, and I didn't really know much about it. It was pre, like, you know, when Tom
these
Cruise and all,
documentaries and all
yeah,
that,
stuff like that. So you didn't really know much about it, but.
What did she ever talk to you about it or anything?
No, I mean, I don't really have any story about it. It's just, I just mentioned it. I was just like,
Pretty good.
I tend to do this. I just like, I start off a story and then expect everyone else to do the heavy lifting. Like, you know.
Well, I mean, given the fact Stuart's not here, then you're perfectly. No, to be fair, he usually finishes it off.
Oh,
more
really?
than
Yeah,
starts.
yeah.
Gets the punchline. What do you think about Scientology, Jennings?
I'm a believer, of course.
Yeah.
Big believer.
No, it's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of celebrities that I've admired in the past that you find that they're Scientologists, and you're like,
Well, people.
Feels more culty than anything else. Like
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
become a celebrity, I don't know if it's more.
There's ones like Will Smith and all that are meant to be Scientologists,
Really?
but it's like, you know, obviously everybody knows about Tom Cruise and fucking Travolta and all that.
Travolta.
But like, I think there's ones that are like more like secret. And I
Yeah,
think like
yeah.
Jada and Will apparently are
really?
Scientologists and stuff like that. Allegedly, I don't know.
Illuminati. So what do you know anything about it? Like, what is the?
Oh, I've tried like reading about it, but I just get lost. I'm like, I don't know what.
Is
It
it
started by L. Ron Hubbard, the science fiction writer, and apparently done it like just to go like it was like a bet or something. He was like, I'll just like I bet you I can get people to
Yeah.
believe.
Is Scientology the one that's like Adam and Eve is basically taken to a new
that's-
planet and then they
Eh.
have to repopulate the Earth or whatever.
I don't know, but it's definitely to do with space and planets. And this and that.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
Right.
It's just that, and it's like the thetans or whatever. So they give you a reading when you go in at 1st and then your thetans are down. So like, and then
Your
the more
thetans?
basically the more you just need to like be involved in it, and the more you pay them, like the higher up you go, and then you get that's what the big documentary on it called Going Clear.
Going clear, yeah.
Because it's like you know when you reach the top, it's maybe like clear. I suppose it'd be like the version of like being like experiencing like enlightenment or something like that.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And it's like being like, and so like Tom Cruise is clear probably or whatever.
'Cause
But the
it's got
guy,
enough money.
but there's so much dodgy shit behind it. And like that guy is David Miscavige or whatever. Like, and
He's
that
the new
documentary,
guy.
there's tons of mad shit about him, and it's crazy, man.
It seems like Tom Cruise, for the appearance you get from the documentary, is that he almost uses it as a dating. Like they find him a new partner or a
Aye.
new girlfriend. It's like, oh, Tom Cruise is recently single. We'll just like find him a new girlfriend or something like that. And he
Totally.
gets like they buy him like cars and treats and stuff like that and kind of
Yes.
thing. You know,
Really?
he's
It's really weird. But I think it's sold in LA as like a kind of self-help. I think there's a lot of self-help aspects to it.
Yeah,
And then it's
yeah.
only when you get deeper into it, it's like, oh, the pure.
Aye,
I
yeah.
think that's how people probably they got on it initially, but now it's obviously so known as like a pure scary thing. Because that woman who was the wife in King of Queens, she was in it.
Oh, really?
for ages, and then I think she's left it now, and
That's
they
right.
hate her.
That's
Really?
right.
Yeah. I used to quite like her.
Well,
Yeah, I watched the King Queens is always on.
I watched it
It's good.
recently.
Channel 4.
And I remember it being better. Like,
Yeah.
it really trailed off. There was an
Aye.
episode where it's like he gets a cold and then he starts like, and so he's meant to like go with his wife to this event, and then he doesn't go. He plays basketball out in the rain with his pals, and then he gets a cold. And then the rest of the episode, literally on like 2/3 of the episode, is him having fever dreams
Yeah.
and all these scenarios about how he's lied to his wife.
That's amazing.
And then it ends.
Yeah.
That's
So
great.
it doesn't tie any up with the loose ends or anything.
I think King of Queens is one of the ones like I didn't watch enough of it, and it was always kind of like it seemed alright, but I was never
Aye.
invested enough to watch it. So it's like kind of I'm not surprised that it's like if you watch it, it's probably actually quite shite.
Aye.
But you always thought, that was alright, that wasn't it?
Aye. When I was a
That's
wee
the-
guy, I was like, it was good. I liked
That's
Ben Stiller's dad.
Oh, aye, Jerry
Jerry
Stiller.
Stiller.
Yeah,
He's
Jerry
good.
Stiller.
He was the dad. He was George's dad in Seinfeld
Yeah,
as well.
that's right.
Oh, was it? Never
You're
really
quite
watched
in it.
Seinfeld.
You and Crystal were doing a podcast for a while about
But
Roseanne.
Roseanne, she's gone a bit. Roseanne, not Crystal. She's gone a bit crazy. Yeah, that was good fun. We did
Were
it.
you
like,
into that? Did you watch that growing up? Because I
Yeah,
kind of missed
yeah.
that. I think it was before my time.
Roseanne was like really groundbreaking and like paved the way for lots of like you'd never really seen sitcoms with like
A female lead.
yeah, and with like overweight people like
Aye.
it was so rare because
Roseanne walked so Kevin James could run on the basketball court and then have fever dreams about it.
yeah, no, it was like it was working class as well. It was very working class, and it was kind of like
Yeah.
Roseanne was like pre-Friends. Friends is kind of came and took over or whatever.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, totally.
But Roseanne was like really good, and
What was the time frame of Roseanne? Like the 90s?
it was like late 80s, early 90s, and then it kind of tailed off sort of mid 90s, mid to late 90s, and it was like
Who was in it?
Roseanne.
Rosie
And
O'Donnell.
She was
No,
Roseanne.
that's a
Roseanne.
different
That's
person.
that's
Roseanne Barr. her name is.
Roseanne Barr.
Right, okay.
But then Tom Arnold was her husband, but did he
Yeah.
know nick all her money or something like that?
Something like that. I think he had an affair and something like
Aye.
that, and he was
Alright.
big into drugs and stuff like that. He might have nicked all her money. I think.
Aye,
I'm not
'cause
sure.
she was like so well paid, and he was just like
Yeah.
I think he was just like an actor or a comedian. Like
Yeah,
he
he's
was quite
like
shy, and
stand-up,
everyone's
yeah.
just like everyone just thought he's with her for the money. I
Yeah.
think.
Well,
I don't know.
he actually he ended up being in some like he popped up in films like True Lies. You ever see True
Aye.
Lies? He was pretty funny, like, but yeah, I think she was the more talented one of the two, and
Totally.
like John Goodman, that was like his big break,
Oh,
and
yeah.
and like there was a lot of serious stuff in it, like about
Abortion.
yeah, things like that.
Really?
I think maybe not. No, there's stuff like birth control and
Right.
like
Really,
which
yeah.
wasn't really dealt with in sitcoms, but
It's like because they always go on about that one in Seinfeld. It's like, oh, the contest because it was about
Yeah.
masturbation, but they never mentioned it.
Yeah, yeah,
but at
yeah,
that
yeah,
time,
yeah.
those sort of topics, it's probably
was-
the first time it was covered in like.
yeah, there was loads of stuff like LGBT stuff in it in Roseanne, and they
Aye.
had like a gay character who wasn't like the butt of the jokes, and
Yeah,
everyone it had like and he wasn't like portrayed as like back then, camp or anything like that, like cliche, and it was like. When you watch a lot of like 90s sitcoms and 2000 sitcoms, there's always loads of like episodes where the main character is like, oh no, what if I'm gay? Like, Frasier
yeah.
has about 3 episodes where he thinks he's gay, and
Ross
then
and Friends.
Even though he's
Yeah.
one of the most prolific shaggers of
yeah,
all time.
yeah. And like Friends, who's it? Chandler thinks he's gay.
Yeah.
because
That's right,
everyone
yeah.
thinks he's gay, and there's like a lot of like those episodes in 90s. King of Queens, there must be like stuff like that. So,
Yeah, one of his
fever
favourites.
yeah, but
shagging
it's
loads
kinda
of
like-
guys.
yeah, but
and Patton Oswald.
yeah.
But so see now when you look at Roseanne, like how mental she's went, like do you see through like knowing about her in the show and all that?
Yeah.
How do you see? Does that make sense to you that she's kind of went because she pure went big
Yeah.
Trump and then
Yeah.
anti-vax and all that stuff? Was it?
Oh, did
Yeah, I think she's always had like her problems, and I don't know. Is it? I think she may be bipolar.
Yeah.
and she's had like I think she's had problems with drugs. I don't want to just confirm that just 100%.
Pretty
But-
sure. Aye.
Yeah,
That'd
pretty
be
sure.
quite
yeah,
the
yeah,
scoop.
yeah. That'd be scoop. Yeah, she's had her problems with
Big
drugs.
news.
But I know John Goodman he had loads of problems with drugs. But like, I think it's just like, what was it like? Someone who said that basically there's a combination when people have like a middle age, where they go like they become radicalized.
Yeah.
it's a combination of mental health problems, like a cancellation or something.
Yeah.
And too much social media, and just maybe drugs. or like being famous and just like narcissism. It's like all those things combined. There's so many people who've like gone off the rails, and it's a combination of getting a bit old and being on Twitter too much.
She's like the American Graham Linehan.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Shit. I mean, I'm terrified to even say his name because he does actually look for himself online. Like he spends like hours online, like just every day. He tweets like
vanity searches.
Yeah, and it's like he tweets nonstop, and you're like, I've stopped even looking at what, you know, like reading about what he's doing. I don't know what he's doing now, but it's just like, you think 5 years ago he'd reached the worst point, but now he's obviously. Maybe I shouldn't have mentioned him.
I know. Let's move on. But you did mention, obviously, talk about Roseanne mental health. I know that you did have your own.
Yeah. I mean,
tough times.
Well,
nice
like
after your cancellation.
yeah. Well, like it was the thing of like post Fringe, and everyone talks about a post Fringe downer, that a come down that you have, because you're doing that every day at the Fringe. You're doing the show. It's a buzz. It feels good, and even like if you have a good Fringe at the end of it, you're like, you can have a real come down.
Post holiday blues almost.
Yeah. But like, it kind of happened in a stupid way because I went to the dentist to get a tooth removed. This is so stupid. And they removed the tooth.
Time's your appointment, 2:30.
Not cool there. That's you cancelled. But I got the tooth removed. It developed a dry socket.
Right.
Which Liam Withnell said that's quite apt because you're a very dry comedian. It's like dry socket.
And people like to plug in their phones.
Yeah.
That'd be a great name for dry socket.
That's the next Fringe show title.
If you like dry humour and plugging in your phone in charge, this is a show for you.
It has to be on at 2:30 though. That's the time of the show. But like, no, so like I was in loads of pain and I was like lying. You know when you just like, you can't even focus, you're in so much pain.
Yeah.
You're just like, I would sit and look at social media. So like I have a real problem with social media, a real bad addiction to it. And you just like that whole thing. It's well documented. Everyone talks about it where you say, oh, I look at other people's social media feeds and they look like they're having the best life ever.
Yeah.
And everyone's going great and everyone's, you know, oh, my career's going great. So I'm looking at all this and I'm stuck at home feeling sorry for myself. And it's, you know, the Fringe was, I had a decent Fringe. I could have had maybe a few more audience members and stuff, but yeah, I was just having a bit of a existentialist nightmare. And then I kind of end up posting on Twitter going, I don't know, I just feel, what's the point? Like I've tried, I can't do comedy anymore. I feel like, and I just felt like, I think, I struggle with confidence. I think social media kind of makes it worse,
amplifies it.
Yeah. And I think like I do have a tendency to check my phone way too much for validation.
Yeah.
And they say that if you feel bad and you look at social media, it'll only make you feel worse. You know, it's not going to make you feel good.
Yeah.
But it does though. Like you do get likes and you get a message and you get your dopamine hit.
Absolutely.
You think like, oh, that feels good. And then they say that someone said that if your phone gave you a dopamine hit every time you looked at it, you wouldn't look at it so much. It's almost like you're playing. It's the fact that you may get, it's like you're playing a game.
Totally.
Social media is a game.
I feel like that thing is as well, like you're saying, about like being in the house and looking at everyone's lives. Because I've often thought this, right? Because you just, you know, regardless of how happy you are with what you're doing, you know, generally, or just even at that moment, there's always somebody going to be doing something different that you're not doing at that point. I always think, like, see if you're on a night out with all your mates, right, and you're having the best night ever, and then you go on Instagram and you see somebody and they're out with a partner, having a great time on a holiday, whatever, and you go, I wish I had a partner, or I wish I was doing that. But then the person that's out with a partner is probably looking at Instagram, seeing, look, they're having a great time out with all the lads or whatever. Yeah. And they feel bad because the
grass is always greener.
It's that, but it's also just like, you know, you're always looking at something that you've not got or you're not doing. Whereas if you just have, I suppose the more content you are is by going, I'm happy with what I've got. But social media showing you you're always comparing to what other people, and there's always something you've not got that you can see. So,
yeah, you're never going to be satisfied. You think
tough.
like, yeah, because no one posts the bad stuff. Well,
exactly.
some people do, but like, no one posts like, oh, I messaged someone for a gig and I didn't get a reply back.
Yeah.
Have a great day, everyone. Like sort of loves and kisses. It's kind of like, yeah. So yeah, I think social media. I have a real problem with it. I think I've got like, even as a kid or whatever, you just like, you have these little things that you just become addicted to, and like
Care Bears.
Yeah. Like, when you get I snack a lot and stuff like that, and I tend to do that, and they're like,
do you get an addictive personality? Would
definitely,
you say?
yeah, I would say so.
Big drinker.
Yeah, I was back in the day, and I used to smoke and stuff like that, and it's kind of like, if the phone's kind of an extension of that, but like there's just ways around it of like, you can do things that give you good dopamine hits or something, like, rather than like an addictive one. Yeah, that's it. People get addicted
smashing
to
it in Cathcart Bowling Club.
It's a drug. Stand up,
Yeah. I'd like people. I think, I don't know, like, would you struggle to live without comedy? Like, I mean, I can't even imagine. Like,
well, how did you feel about it during lockdown? Because I thought I actually adapted to not doing it a lot better than I didn't miss as much as I thought I would have.
Yeah, same.
I adapted very well.
Aye.
To the point where I can't be arsed in stand up.
Yeah.
But I would say I like to do it because it's like, it's a fun thing to do as a job, and I do enjoy it. But it's like, I don't think I'm seeking it in the way that some people feel like they're needing it to fill this void inside. They need the laughs and the validation. I think that's when it can become dangerous. Whereas when you're doing it just because it's a fun thing to do, then it's a bit better. And then, if you had a couple of weeks or whatever, you don't do it, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, I think the thing I really love, the biggest sort of joy I get from stand up is the actual, when you get a joke working.
Absolutely.
That's like the biggest, like, when you actually, even maybe before you do it on stage, well, I suppose you have to do it on stage, otherwise you don't know.
But even when you've got the idea, you get the idea and you go, that
really
could be a joke.
about it. Yeah.
It's the most exciting thing ever.
It's the best thing. Yeah, it's like not all the, I don't know, the other stuff that comes with it maybe, but it's the actual writing the joke that feels really good.
There's a certain satisfaction, I think, like, it's like getting in that flow into it. It's even you're doing stuff maybe if it's not new, but it's like, and you really know it, and you're like,
something there.
It's going really well, you're enjoying it, and you go, that's just Landy got a great laugh, and they don't even know this next thing is going to be fucking better, and you get in with that, and that's a really fun when you feel like you're just kind of firing all cylinders, and you've got the flow of it right, but you're kind of riding the wave of the laugh and going to the next one, but
it's great.
But yeah, no, generally it's like, there's nothing better than getting a laugh for a new joke, is there? Or just it's more exciting than having a new idea that you think can go places.
But the thing, the post Fringe thing was like, I think I had a bit of a tough last day, where I can almost see the face, I can remember the faces of the audiences, like, just like looking at me and thinking they're not enjoying this. I'm not going to ask them if they're okay. And so it's like sort of
all the
burnt
while,
into my mind.
All you needed was somebody to ask if you were okay.
That's it. So like, I had a bit of a meltdown, and I got better. My tooth, and everything got fixed. But and then I look back and I think that was a bit embarrassing. Like, loads of comedians had come up to me afterwards and said, "Oh, I saw your message or I saw your post, and I think they said to me, "Oh, I felt that way so many times."
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was really nice of people, and loads of people got in touch, and loads of people left nice messages. Raymond Mearns was like, "Were you feeling sorry for yourself?" He was like,
fucking feeling sorry for yourself, McDaniel.
I saw it.
You keep that yourself.
Yeah.
And
Keep that yourself.
Missus was there, and she's like, "Oh, he fucking says it to me." It's like, you can tell the wife.
What was it he said? I saw this existential tweet you did. Or something like that.
It's funny, he was sitting in like this club chairman chairs where we like one of the fucking, what do you call that?
The gavel,
like, no, that's not on, McDaniel.
He's got a bang and going, no more depression.
It was so funny.
Yeah.
But listen, we do love you, Paul. You are a comedian, and you do check out Paul. Before we let you go, Paul, have you got anything to plug?
Just follow me on the social media, even though I've been slagging it off.
Only
yeah.
Some dopamine hit.
Just
the only thing you should be looking
yeah.
at on social media is Paul McDaniel's
Yeah, just me.
Instagram.
Just the TikTok, all that. It's all the social media shit.
Where can they follow you at what? We'll put the link in the
I
description.
don't know I can't even remember what it is, but like, yeah, I'll be hopefully posting more content, online stuff, and I do a podcast intermittently, so that's called That Don't Impression Paul Much, where I get comedians on to do impressions, and that's a lot of fun. So yeah, just follow me. Yeah, follow me.
He's a very funny.
Remember that song?
What were you gonna?
Follow me, everything is all. Do you know that song?
I thought you were about to sing a hymn there.
No.
That's what I thought.
Follow me.
There's a Catholic hymn. Follow me.
Oh, was there?
Follow me.
No, Ian
Don't know
Paisley
about
would
that,
become the use if he was fucking singing that one.
Oh, well, but yeah, that's it. Really.
Great. Well, thank you so much
Thank
for joining
you
us,
so
Paul.
much,
It's great to
Paul.
finally have
Pleasure.
you on. And as ever, guys, before we go, please do remember to like and subscribe on YouTube. Give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And you can follow us at SumLaughPod on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And send any questions you've got to the email address, which is sumlaughpod@gmail.com.
gmail.com.
Thanks a lot for tuning in, guys, and we'll speak to you very soon.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, Paul.